Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of LiveWire Film Reviews via YouTube. It's me, Peter Mann. What's up? And today I'm going to be reviewing Super Troopers 2. The film follows the events of the 2002 film favorite, a cult classic of the Vermont State Police as they are going through their shenanigans. This time they are up against the Canadians, as a part of their territory is actually a part of the US territory. They must come in to have these citizens be a part of the US. While the pros of this film, you have the whole gang back. You have Farva, Rabbit, everybody else. Also the chief, played by Brian Cox, also have come back to play their roles kind of a decade later, and this film almost feels like 10 years too late. Well, I will say though that the rapport of these guys, you love to be with them. Their shenanigans, the little barbs that they trade with one another, is really funny to watch. It's refreshing to see what you liked about the first Super Troopers film kind of get enhanced, and it does recycle a few laughs and jokes of the first film. It's refreshing to see these guys back in action again. I will say that the con is, again, that this is probably a decade too late. Again, the first film dropped around 2001, 2002, and we're just at a different time. I don't know what took this long to make. I know that they did a Kickstarter of this film. Broken Lizard has been kind of out of the limelight. Started strong with Super Troopers, Club Dread, Beer Fest, and they kind of slowed down after the director decided to do more mainstream films. He helmed the failed Dukes of Hazzard remake. We all know what happens after that. It took a while for them to come back to the Slammin' Salmon. I don't believe that got a wide release. You can see why. I think that at a time, Broken Lizard was very strong, kind of a cult following after the release of Super Troopers 2. But you can only be at the top for so long, and I think their comedy kind of waned. And again, like I said, it's fun to see these guys back in action. You have a restaurant in Canada that's kind of like the shenanigans, leader of cola. Again, these lines are recycled from the first film, and of course you get the chuckles here and there, but they're not really bringing anything new to the table. I will say that I'm glad to see that Brian Cox, an actor of his stature, is actually back. They could have killed him off easily. They could have started with the funeral, and you see his visual. If they didn't do that, I'm glad Brian Cox was along for the ride. He was a lifesaver of this film, but I will say that having the gang come back to reunite isn't enough. When everything else gets bogged down by kind of this political fiasco that involves a corrupt mayor of Canada in the form of Rob Lowe. I loved Rob Lowe in last year's How to Be a Latin Lover. I thought he was a saving grace of that film, but he is the exact opposite in this film. Cringeworthy, cannot keep up his French-Canadian accent, as well as Will Sasso, who was giving that French accent. It just was terrible. He was just hamming it up. I think the only people that you're here for are the guys of the Vermont State Police Force. Their comedy barbs that they trade back and forth, it's just not enough to keep this film afloat. I will have to say that as funny as they are, everything else just gets bogged down by a convoluted story that I really couldn't get with. I'm gonna have to give Super Troopers 2 a 1 star. This is Peter Mann. Glad to be back at LiveWire Film Reviews. Been away for a little bit, but I'll be coming back strong. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and be sure to have yourself a wonderful day. This is LiveWire.